What if I told you, you're not stuck, not broken, not lazy, not behind, just afraid. Afraid to release the version of you that's no longer working. Afraid that if you let go, you'll lose control, fall apart, or disappoint everyone. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Holding on is what's actually keeping you in the same place. And no one told you this part. It's not effort that's missing. It's permission. You've been conditioned to grip tighter every time things feel uncertain. Work harder. Push more. Figure it out. But let me ask you, has that made you feel lighter? Or just more exhausted and disconnected? The irony is wild. The life you crave, the clarity, the peace, the freedom, it's on the other side of the very thing you're terrified to release. And most people never get there because they mistake force for faith. This video isn't about magic thinking or pretending everything's fine. It's about the shift that happens when you stop fighting and finally start trusting. When you stop needing to fix and start listening. And when you realize that letting go isn't losing, it's aligning. So if you're tired of spinning your wheels, if your heart's been whispering, there has to be more. And if you're ready to feel that change in your gut, you're exactly where you need to be. Stay with me, because once you understand what's really holding you back, everything can start to move again. Fast. You've probably been told that if you just try harder, you'll finally get what you want. But here's the catch. Sometimes the more you grip, the more life slips through your fingers. It's like holding sand. The tighter your fist, the less you keep. And yet, we cling to control like it's the only lifeline. But control often pushes away exactly what you're trying to pull closer. That job, that person, that breakthrough, it's repelled by your desperation. You want love, success, clarity, but you keep strangling the process with expectations. Real life doesn't operate on tight schedules or rigid rules. It flows like a river, not a subway timetable. Control is rooted in fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of loss, fear of not being enough. So you build little walls around everything, and then wonder why nothing can get in. Freedom, ironically, starts where your grip ends. Think of relationships for a second. Ever met someone who tries too hard to impress? It's exhausting, right? Now flip it. When you try to control how people see you through perfection, through pretending, you create pressure. But the truth is, people are drawn to peace, not panic. That calm confidence, that's what invites real connection. Control chokes it. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop micromanaging the universe like it owes you something. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes, waiting for a reply that'll prove your worth. You stop thinking that if you just obsess a bit more, things will finally fall into place. Trust me, they won't. But when you surrender the need to force it, that's when life surprises you. I've seen people burn out trying to manipulate every outcome. They overplan, overthink, and overcommit until they're emotionally bankrupt. I've done it myself. And it's never the effort that breaks you. It's the grip. The belief that unless you control it, nothing will work. But when you back off and breathe, the right path tends to reveal itself slowly and clearly. So maybe the real strength isn't in how tight you hold, but how brave you are to open your hand. Letting go isn't failure, it's wisdom. It's seeing that the current was never yours to command. And once you start recognizing that difference, well, something deeper begins to shift. You've probably heard people say, just let it go, like it's some kind of lazy shortcut. And maybe deep down, you've confused letting go with giving up. But here's the truth, it takes way more courage to release than to cling. Letting go isn't about apathy or passiveness. It's about trusting something beyond your own force. It's an act of strength, not surrender. You're not quitting, you're shifting your power. Most people don't get that. They think if you stop fighting, you're weak. But real peace doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from knowing when to stop. Letting go is not walking away from responsibility. It's walking away from the illusion that you control everything. There's a huge difference. One leads to anxiety. The other leads to freedom. Think about how often you've tried to fix someone else's emotions. Maybe you stayed in a relationship trying to rescue them. Maybe you kept over-explaining yourself just to be understood. That's not love or clarity. That's control dressed up as care. You don't have to stop loving people, but you do have to stop managing their journey for them. That's where peace lives. And letting go doesn't mean you stop working toward your goals. It means you stop obsessing over how and when they'll happen. Let's say you're launching a business or waiting for your big break. Do the work. Show up fully. But don't attach your identity to the outcome. You're not a failure if it doesn't go your way. You're a human learning timing. When you cling, your energy gets loud, desperate, even if you don't realize it. But when you release, you show up differently. You speak with calm, not chaos. You trust more, and people feel that. Whether it's a job interview, a hard conversation, or a creative project, your results improve when you stop trying to bend everything to your will. Letting go is not passive, it's precise. It's choosing peace over pressure, clarity over confusion, and it's this shift in mindset that sets the stage for something even deeper. Emotional freedom, the kind that no amount of hustle can buy. You carry a lot more than you think. Expectations, assumptions, fears that whisper, "What if?" in the back of your mind. And those expectations, they weigh you down. Not because you shouldn't want things, but because clinging to outcomes creates pressure you don't even realize you're under. Emotional freedom begins when you release the story of how things should be. That's where peace sneaks in quietly, but powerfully. You've been taught that more control equals more results. But let me ask you, how often has obsessing actually helped? Usually, the moment you surrender the mental noise, your clarity returns. You notice the present instead of trying to outrun it. You breathe instead of brace. Letting go doesn't mean you care less. It means you finally have space to feel what actually is. Imagine this. You're preparing for a big moment. An audition, a meeting, a tough conversation. You rehearse, you plan, you stress. But what if, instead of trying to perfect everything, you focused on presence? Showing up grounded instead of gripped. That's emotional freedom. You respond, not react. You connect, not perform. That's when people truly listen. Fear will try to convince you that letting go is dangerous. It'll tell you that if you're not worried, you're not trying hard enough. But let's be honest, fear lies. Fear wants to keep you small, safe, stuck. And it often disguises itself as just being realistic. But peace isn't unrealistic. It's the result of trust. And trust is a muscle, you build it by using it. Now, detachment doesn't mean you're numb or cold. It means you're not a prisoner of every emotional spike. You can watch your feelings without becoming them. You can want something deeply and still be okay if it doesn't happen. That's a level of power most people never reach. Not because they can't, but because they were never taught how. And once you start tasting that kind of peace, you'll never want to go back to chasing noise. You'll begin to see that what you thought you needed might have been just a distraction from what you truly desire. And this shift opens the door to something even more powerful. Alignment, the kind that replaces attachment with something far more steady. You've probably confused attachment with commitment at some point. It happens. But attachment is fear in disguise. Fear that if you don't grip tightly, it'll slip away. Alignment, though, alignment is calm. It's when you're still deeply connected, but you're not begging. You're rooted in trust, not desperation. And that changes everything about how life responds to you. See, when you're attached, you're trying to own outcomes. You want to control how people feel, how plans unfold, how timelines work. It's like trying to steer a boat by clinging to the anchor. Doesn't get you far, does it? But alignment, that's when you set your sail with intention and trust the wind. You guide, you adjust, but you don't fight the current. The reason most people struggle with this is because they believe attachment shows love, loyalty, or dedication. But the truth is, desperation pushes things away. Have you ever chased a goal so hard that it actually made you lose your spark? That wasn't passion. That was pressure. When you're aligned, you still care, you just don't collapse if things shift. You're sturdy, not fragile. Now let's bring this to your daily life. If you're job hunting, alignment looks like preparing, applying, and showing up with your best energy, but not crumbling if one door closes. If you're dating, it means being authentic, connected, present, but not molding yourself to be good enough. You're not here to chase. You're here to choose what feels right. When you're aligned, your energy becomes magnetic. People sense it. Doors open faster. Not because you're faking confidence, but because you're not needing everything to work your way. You're flowing with life, not forcing it. And ironically, that's what makes you far more effective at work, in love, in anything. You become a match for what's meant for you. And here's the magic. The moment you stop clinging, life has room to move. The relationships that belong will stay. The opportunities that fit will rise. And you'll finally feel lighter. But in order to align fully, you'll need to let go of old roles, especially the ones tied to how you see yourself. You've probably spent years performing a version of yourself that felt safe. The achiever who never rests. The helper who says yes even when they're drowning. The one who smiles while quietly breaking inside. And the truth is, those roles might have worked for a while. But they're not who you are, they're just who you became to be accepted, validated, or loved. And now, they're outdated. Letting go means you're not just releasing people or situations. You're releasing versions of yourself that were built on fear. The overachiever who believed their worth depended on results. The people pleaser who made everyone else comfortable just to avoid rejection. The validation seeker who chased praise like air. That's not freedom, it's performance. And you're not on this earth to perform. But shedding those layers isn't easy. You'll grieve them. You'll doubt yourself. Sometimes you'll want to run back to those identities just to feel stable again. That's normal. Growth isn't always graceful. It's messy, awkward, and often invisible to others. You're not failing because it's hard. You're transforming. And transformation is supposed to feel like you're falling apart before it feels like you're coming together. Here's something practical. Take inventory of the stories you keep repeating about yourself. I'm the responsible one. I'm always the fixer. If I don't do it, it won't get done. Who told you that was your role? And more importantly, who benefits from you believing it? Write those stories down. Then challenge them. That's inner work. Not pretty, but powerful. You don't owe anyone the version of you that sacrifices peace for performance. And your worth is not tied to your productivity, your likes, your results, or who approves of your path. You are valuable because you exist. Period. The world may try to measure you differently, but the deeper truth, you were never meant to live inside someone else's scoreboard. And once you get honest about who you're not anymore, you create space to discover who you actually are becoming. That kind of clarity takes patience, takes quiet, takes stillness, and the world won't always wait, but you must. You want it to shift overnight. I get it. You've done the inner work, journaled through the storms, and waited long enough, right? But real change doesn't come on your schedule. It comes on nature's clock. You're not just rearranging habits, you're rebuilding your nervous system, rewiring beliefs, reshaping how you exist. And that doesn't happen in a weekend workshop or a motivational high. It unfolds little by little. There are seasons where everything feels still. You're doing the work, but nothing's moving. That's not failure, it's recalibration. Think of it like winter. Just because you can't see the roots growing doesn't mean they're not. That silence, that pause, is sacred. You're being prepared, not punished. But if you judge the process too early, you'll dig up your own progress. This is where most people give up, right at the edge of breakthrough. They mistake the stillness for stagnation and walk away from something that was about to bloom. Don't do that. You've come too far. Learn to sit with the discomfort without running to distraction. Turn off the noise. Listen to what your body, your heart, your intuition are whispering. That's where the real answers live. Try this. Give yourself space each day to just be. Not scroll. Not fix, not analyze. Just sit in stillness for 5 minutes. Sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things to do in a world that constantly screams for your attention. And yet, that space is where patience begins, where clarity builds, where the fog starts to lift. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to stop rushing what's already unfolding. Life isn't a race, it's a rhythm. Some days you'll sprint, others you'll crawl. Both are holy, both are part of your becoming. And if you can trust that well, then you're finally ready to see what's really holding you back. Because what feels like being stuck might not be stuck at all. It might just be fear, dressed up in silence, waiting for you to let go. So now I'll ask you, what are you still gripping that's already asking to be released? Who do you keep trying to become just to feel worthy? And how much longer will you let fear dress itself up as logic? You've learned a lot here today, but knowledge without action changes nothing. What's one thing you're ready to let go of today? Be bold enough to name it. Write it down. Say it out loud. Even better, share it in the comments so this isn't just theory, it becomes your turning point. And hey, if this hit you deep, don't just scroll away. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next shift waiting for you. Around here, we go deeper than cliches. This is where you unlearn what broke you and relearn how to become you again. And if you're ready to take the next step, watch the video that's coming up right now on your screen. It'll show you how to move forward with peace, even when life feels uncertain. You're not alone in this. You're evolving. Now let's keep going.